4, 3. Oh, it's so nice to have a bye, isn't it? It's just nice to have a
Yeah,
break,
that's great.
not do anything, not have to worry about all the millions of players who are out with COVID, not have to worry about whether or not we're going to be in the Sacko final or whether we're going to be eliminated from the playoffs already. Just to enjoy life. You know, it's Christmas time. So much to be thankful for. What's going on,
Couldn't agree
guys?
more.
JC Penny podcast. The playoffs are here. It's the most wonderful time of the year, especially for Zach and I, because we are the number 1 and 2 seed respectively. Number 1 is up top on the podcast view. Number 2 is below. But yeah, and I don't think that I necessarily earned it. And Zach had a nail biter of a win to see if he'd even make the playoffs. But yet here we are at the 1 and 2 seed, enjoying a bye while the Thursday night games begin. So Zach, thanks for joining me on the pod for this very special playoff edition.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we'll get right into our general tradition of looking at the Week 14 matchups and looking at who made the playoffs, who got eliminated. We'll also talk about I'm sure we're going to end up touching on the massive number of COVID issues, like a COVID out, people on the COVID-19 list. And I'm sure we'll also talk about the playoff bracket and the playoff kind of quarterfinals and the Sacko semifinals that are taking place as we speak. So, as is tradition on this podcast, we always start with the commissioners matchup in the recap. And my winning streak died a painful death to Darryl. Didn't end up mattering. It ended up helping him and not really hurting me because I still got the number 1 seed. But, yeah, Darryl gave me the hands.
I'm trying to pull it up on my machine.
So the big takeaways that I had were a couple things. One, George Kittle's back with a vengeance. He put up 27.6 in a great game against Cincinnati. That I think went to overtime, and we were hoping it would vault me back into competition with Darryl, because the Bengals got the ball first with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, didn't do anything with it really, and then Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle just marched down the field, demolishing any chance I had.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Like, everyone was rooting for you too, because if Darryl loses, then that's one extra spot where like a 7-7 team can get in. But then once he won, it's like, shit, we got to get to 8 wins to get in.
I mean, literally, Jason Smith was the biggest advocate for my team here. He was rooting for my team harder than I was, probably. But Darryl gets the must-win victory, despite Terry McLaurin getting injured and getting nothing for him. And it was, like I said, largely the biggest outliers for me were George Kittle had a great day. Taysom Hill also had, by his standards, a pretty good day. He's looking like a fantastic pickup for Darryl, at least early returns.
Did he get him off waivers or free agent?
Yeah, he did. He spent a fair amount of money on him too. I'll look it up right now.
I just know that my ESPN app pulled up a thing asking, as if this was the tough decision on who to start, Taysom Hill or Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts was my 9th overall pick. And
here's the crazy part.
On a waiver.
Here's the crazy part. So he was drafted by Jerry. At the end of August, Jerry dropped him. It took until
which pick was it?
100, the literally 16th rounder, last pick.
Oh, okay.
And it was, since Jerry was the first pick in the draft, it was literally the last pick of the draft. He drafted Taysom Hill. So Jerry dropped him on August 31st. He stays on waivers for a long time. Eventually, Darryl spends, when he's about to start, Darryl spent $317 on him on November 3rd. Then Darryl dropped him on November 14th, and he was again on waivers forever until December 1st. Darryl picks him up for no money. So that's the backstory of Taysom Hill, but now he's looking like...
Well, that was his first start, right? Like, start against Dallas. I got to seize him up right now.
But he didn't, I think... So that his first start again was against Dallas, but like when Darryl first picked him up, I think it was the Atlanta game, he only put up 1.72 points, then 4.74, if I'm correct.
He had 2 completions, 2 attempts. He was 2 for 2. So, like, was he really the starting quarterback there?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, either way, this was obviously like a very favorable matchup against the Jets, but it certainly is looking like that's a huge get for Darryl, who was already having, like, he doesn't have the best quarterbacks in the world in Carson Wentz and Jimmy Garoppolo, so the fact that he can get Taysom Hill, and now granted, again, favorable matchup, we'll see if it plays out, but it's definitely looking like a good pick. As for my team, like my biggest Alex joining the pod, shout out to Alex for joining the pod to watch us talk while he's playing his quarterfinal matchup. So my biggest takeaways, honestly, I mean, I was always playing at a major disadvantage in this matchup. Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, all on bye. 3 starters out.
Although I saw something with Gesicki. Was it COVID this week he's out? Or
Waddle,
I mean, again,
actually.
Oh, yeah, Waddle's the one on the COVID list, which,
and
that's where buys help. But
so I'll tell you the bad news is obviously he's been probably my best receiver this season, and to have him out in jeopardy of missing time is scary.
But if it's COVID, he's going to be back, right?
Sure. The good news is that on Sunday, I think made the wise decision to add Devontae Parker, who was just happened to be on waivers.
I saw that.
And that I think is going to be a underrated steal if Waddle, like, it's insurance for Waddle, and he could Parker's always been the number 1 wide receiver in Miami. He's been injured for most of this season. Waddle's still going to get his share and his targets, but Parker could be a reliable source if Gesicki falters.
I'll be honest. I had Parker last year, and I'm blanking now. Who's the running back there this year?
Gaskin.
Yeah, so I had Parker last year, Gaskin this year, and they both played the exact same role. They were the number 1 in the position that they were. Played for the Dolphins, and they put up like 5 to 10 points a game. Like once in a while, I think Parker would get like a TD or 2, but like,
Parker, like I said, the big thing with Parker is he's been. Our screen is. I'm sorry, Alex. My screen was. I didn't have the browser up. So Parker, as you see from the screen, in the games he played this year, right? He never had less than 4 catches. He never had less than 40 yards, and his worst performances were like 6 points basically. Yeah. But he had at least 3 weeks where he had double digits, and again, this isn't a
and you're really only looking. Yeah, you're only looking at, like, if you can start him as a flex, you're happy, right? Like,
absolutely. Someone on the waiver wire who's getting like around 8 targets a game, like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, the other big takeaway. I mean, Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. The rest of my team significantly, aside from my wide receivers and Higgins and Jefferson, significantly underperformed.
It's still you still put up 114 without Jonathan Taylor, like.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not that.
You would have beat me, beat Jerry. You would beat Brad. You would have beat Window. Like, you're like right around the middle, and you didn't have your by far best player of the year.
Or one of my starting wide receivers. I'm not that mad about it. Or starting tight end. I'm not that mad about it. I'm just saying the only yellow flag at all, really, the only one, is the Browns running back situation. Because I was relying a lot on. I was hoping that Chubb and Hunt would be viable when they both came back healthy. This was supposed to be that game against a Baltimore defense that really isn't what it used to be. And I was disappointed in only now, granted, Hunt went off with an injury. I think he's doubtful to play this week. Which helps you a ton.
Like, if Hunt is out,
it consolidates everything into one player.
Like, honestly, like I said, you're going to get Taylor back for the playoffs, and that's going to be good. But, like, you're still going to have to start one of them, Chubb or Hunt. Like, have either of them looked great as like a RB2?
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Chubb is right now, even after that bad performance, is an RB2. He's position right. He's number 16, RB16.
Maybe I'm misinformed. I thought Hunt recently came back and was taking carries from him.
No, so Chubb. So let me tell you, when they started the season, I just want to. I'm gonna have to look back and forth their numbers, but like the first half of the season, I know they were both productive before Hunt's injury. Chubb, I'm just going to look at the first 5 games. Chubb put up 21, 16, 8, 11, and 23. In that same 5-game stretch, Hunt, 15, 5, 24, 15, 23. Like,
so Hunt was outscoring Chubb, but it was close.
They were both they're both putting up like 15, 20 a game.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah,
I'll take that. I'll start them both. I'll start. My thought is like start the Browns running back commit and let them get 30-ish points a game, and that's all I need out of those like RB2 and flex. But especially with Jonathan Taylor. But I mean, like, they definitely disappointed in this matchup. I'm glad I had the bye to evaluate, especially if see where Hunt's injury status is at. But bottom line, none of this shit matters. I got the bye. Who cares? Going in chronological order. Poor Jason Smith. Like, his matchup didn't even matter. It was just me losing cost him his season. I'm sorry, bud. What were your biggest takeaways out of this matchup?
I'll be honest, I haven't really looked at it, and when we were watching, I wasn't even paying attention to this matchup because
well, we were playing baseball.
Jason, well, that too, but neither Jason nor Brad actually cared who won this matchup, right? They were the only two who didn't really need a win. Like, you needed to win to lock up your bye. Everyone else needed to win to make the playoffs, and then I guess McMillan didn't need a win, and then Jason's sitting here like, he needs you to win. He doesn't give a shit if he wins. And then like Brad's, sitting there at 3-10.
Well, Jason's team is stupid stacked. Like, I'm so glad it's out of the playoffs. Truthfully, like I try my best to beat Darryl, but I was looking that he's gone.
I was looking at trading with him, and I'm like I would get situations where I feel like I'm like borderline like trade raping him, but then like the people I'm getting are on his bench. Like he had to sit Ezekiel Elliott like this week, and he still started 3 running backs. Ezekiel Elliott was his 4th best running back of the week. And it's not like any of his other positions are super weak. I mean, the one person he kept trying to like sell me that I wasn't super happy with was like Kirk Cousins. He wanted to do something that involved like Hurts and Cousins before the injury was announced.
So let me ask you a question, because you've been in the league now for what? We're talking 4 seasons. This is your 5th season?
I think so. I think this is 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 5. So this is your 5th season in the league. Obviously, I've been around for 13 seasons.
A lot more.
Goodness. But the question I want to pose, and I would love to hear Alex's comments too, since he's the only one in the chat right now. He's played. This is his 4th season, but I'd love to know from guys in the league. And if again, post in the chat if you're here. If not, I want to see the comments on either our Facebook group or our YouTube page. But is Jason's team the best team on paper to miss the playoffs? I think so. I really do.
Oh, it's not close.
I agree. Like, absolutely the best.
Some mediocre teams made the playoffs in the past.
But I can't think of a team that is this stupid stacked and fail.
That's what I mean. But he didn't even really this year was such a weird fluke. So I sort of mentioned this on the Facebook group, but if you scroll down the standings and look at the points for, it looks like any other year. It's you got a few at the top, you got a few clustered 100 back, you got a few 200 back, you got a few just way at the bottom. It's not like everyone's actually clumped together in points scored. It's just the record. Jason put up the 3rd most points scored any other year that makes the playoffs easily. Yep. Because even if you get really unlucky, the top 2 point scorers are going to be in the top 5, so you're going to get the wild card. So he just got so unlucky that, first of all, he got the matchups he did, and I think the week I played him was when I put up 170 and he put up 150 or 161. I don't know. I remember I put up a shit ton of points, and Or that might have been against Brad. I think Brad was the one, actually. I feel I had a high-scoring matchup against Jason.
I'm looking.
He's had a couple. Like, he's been really unlucky in his matchups. I think he's
he's middle of the road in points against. Oddly enough.
Yeah, no, because I think he's the one who told me he lost like 3 games by like a combined like 10 points or something.
Let's see.
Look at his matchups. I wish I could see your screen.
I can find it. If you go to league schedule and then go to James Blue Chunk, Alex said, "Yeah, this season is nuts. Nothing makes sense." So his losses were by 9 points. By Brad whipped the shit out of him. He lost by.
I don't hear that very often.
He lost by 2 to McMillan. He lost by less than
2-point loss and not.
He lost by less than 1 to Window. He lost by 2 to Darryl.
So that's 4 losses where he lost by a combined 11 points. Like, he's lost 4 games by an average of like 2.5.
Add in 1 more loss by 3. 6 to me.
Yeah, so like that's like he didn't have a ton of points against. It was just really unlucky when the points came, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said, I agree 100%. His team is by far the best on paper. It's also got to be the first time like the 3rd most points scored didn't make the playoffs with the wild card, right? First of all, in a normal league, 3rd most in points scored probably gets you a good enough record to get in. Then in this league, there's even the added bonus where if you get unlucky, you can get that wild card.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I think I'm gonna have to change the matchups in the Sacko Bowl. I don't know that I did that, and I think it automatically does.
Wait, why are you changing the Sacko Bowl matchups?
Because I think it automatically does. Let me make sure.
Oh yeah, it doesn't do the 7 versus 8, 9 versus 10.
Yeah, let me make sure about this. Yeah.
I mean, it should be like 7, 10.
Oh, no. Someone, I think maybe Jerry fixed it or something like that, because I don't think
I remember looking at it and thinking it looked good.
Let me see.
Because, like, obviously Jason's going to be the number... Yeah, Jason's playing Brad. Like, obviously Jason's going to be the number 1 Sacko team, and obviously Brad's going to be the number 10.
Yeah, modified schedule league settings, league manager actions. I guess maybe he did it. I don't know. Because I don't... No, maybe I did it in the morning. I was, like, tired or something. I don't know. Maybe Jerry did. I don't know. Anyway.
It's either way.
It's done.
But yeah, so to circle back, you're 100% right. Jason's team's ridiculous. I'm glad he's not in the playoffs. He got really unlucky.
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
too mad about it. I feel bad for him as a person, as a
screw that. It's fantasy football.
I was gonna say, as a competitor, I don't feel bad at all that I don't have to face that team.
Yeah, and like it would be. We've all agreed it would be the most hilarious thing if he won the Sacko this year. Like it would be fantastic because it would just be the biggest troll ever. Now, granted, I don't think he's gonna have any trouble against Brad's team. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he go off injured with an ankle injury, and then they brought in the backup? I don't know if he's playing on Sunday or not.
I thought it said he was supposed to play, but yeah, he went out last week. If it's ankle, like if he does play, you don't expect him to be quite as mobile, right?
I mean, Brad's team is just a dumpster fire. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he stands a chance against Jason.
I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I'm looking at Brad's team again. He put up 135 last week, which like isn't amazing, but it's still pretty solid. And that's below his projection. Like he underperformed and put up 135.
Wait, you're talking about Jason Smith?
Yeah, for last week.
Yeah. I mean,
like again, it didn't matter. It was he needed you to win, not him to win. But that's just another point on like his team is
stupid,
scary, and I'm glad I don't have to face it.
Yep.
I'm glad it's the Sacko Bowl's problem.
Speaking of big scores, holy shit! James and Window both were in must-win territory, much like you and Jerry, who we'll get to later. And
this was over in at 1:15, it was over or something. It was like
James
over so fast.
Came to play. Dalvin Cook on Thursday night definitely helped.
It was done Thursday night.
Yeah, like Dalvin Cook really did work coming back from an injury. Aaron Rodgers was fantastic. Mark Andrews was great. I mean, and it always helps when your defense puts up 22 points, you know? But like,
there were a lot of high-scoring defenses this Sunday. I think there were 3 or 4 that were in 20s. I don't know if they got brought down to earth later in the game. But...
I think Kansas City was another one that we'll see later, but I know I got like double digits out of the Browns defense.
Window... Oh, so, wait. I'm gonna like reverse and just make one quick comment. Last thing I'll say about Jason's team, at least until we do the Sacko stuff. He spent the rest of his budget, $330 something. It was like $339 on the Green Bay defense and didn't start them.
That is very true, and it wouldn't have made a difference. But like, it is funny that he blew his budget in a desperation move.
Like, I honestly don't understand why he.
I do.
Did that at all.
He was thinking about starting him.
Even if he was going to start him, I think that's like, it just handicaps you so much if he does make the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
Okay, now, someone goes down and now you, like, I could even understand bidding like 20, 30, 50, like something you think is a lot, but like, does he really think someone's going to bid 100 on Green Bay and he has to max it out?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Like that's fair. Like if you do that, like I don't know. I feel like in the playoffs, it's still important to have some budget left.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
But anyway, the last point on Jason, like I said, until we go back to him in the
Sacko
matchup.
preview. No, I mean Window put up the fewest points of the week. He had decent performances out of Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Williams, excuse me. But like, and he didn't have a lot of guys lay an egg except for Antonio Gibson and James Robinson. But like, and I guess Zach Wilson because you expect more out of quarterbacks. But this is, I mean, neither of these teams does. Like in the ideal playoffs, right? In the deserved playoffs. Mm-hmm. What is the top six in scoring? I know it's Burchak, McMillan, Smith.
James put up a lot of points the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Like James's team is actually he's
sixth in scoring.
So let me phrase it this way: he's 20 points behind me, and I think I mentioned the Facebook group. 1 week he started a Dalvin Cook when he was out for the game, and he had his handcuff, and his handcuff put up 22. If he had started, he would be getting a bye this week.
Yeah, well, it's his dumb fault. No, like I'm not talking like throwing tons of shade at McMillan at James and Window. They both were like.
No, Window seems bad.
The bottom. No, they were both. They finished 6th and 7th in the standings. They were both.
No, they finished 6th and 7th in points scored.
In points scored.
But James scored 100 more points than Window. Like,
what I was getting at was that, and I understand. I see your point that like James kind of brought himself into like differentiated himself in the last couple of weeks. My point was just that, like judging these teams on the course of their season, they were both mediocre throughout. But Window was definitely the worst. Like, it was clear Window was the worst of the two teams. Like, the justice was done here for sure.
No, I was so frustrated when, like, I'm about to, like, go off on Window's team while he's on his honeymoon. He was, like, when he was in first place, and he was, like, 7th in points scored, and his team has never been great. He's gotten so lucky in his matchups. Like, he never should have been where he was. He got unlucky near the end to like lose 5 in a row and miss the playoffs by 1, but like his team did not deserve to make the playoffs. Like he
definitely like came down to earth in a big way.
I mean, just look at his team top to bottom. Like, does it look scary at all?
So
like,
not at all.
Mahomes has done fine, but he drafted him 2nd overall. Right? Is he really doing what he was supposed to? No, and then, your running backs are Antonio Gibson and Devontae Williams has had a few hot games lately, but he's been nothing of note the rest of the year, right?
Patrick Mahomes is QB5 right now, which effectively means he would have been drafted like again in a redraft around the turn, like the 10, 11, 12 range probably. That's the earliest. So like you use your first round pick on a second round talent. You know, and that's
exactly
general draft strategy. But but you could never have known that. Brad, welcome.
Brad, when I'm judging his team, I'm judging his team how good it is.
Shout out to Brad joining the chat, asking if we're running Shell after this.
I'm in. I did download both of them yesterday. So
awesome. Shell after this, then.
But so just to clarify, I'm not saying Window made bad decisions that got it to it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm saying looking at his team now.
Oh, it's garbage.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like
right.
He did not deserve to make the playoffs with the team he has. Like
I agree.
And like James isn't the one I'm the most scared of, but I feel like his team looks a lot scarier.
I want to put a pin in that because I want us to, when we get done doing the recap and when we do the playoffs, I want you to think about, out of these teams, the teams that are not you and not me. Well, actually, I guess I want you, of all the teams besides yourself, who are you the most scared to face? Who's the one team you want to avoid in the playoffs and why? So let's think about that.
I already know my answer.
I know what your answer is too, but let's I know it's one of the people in our next matchup, and I know exactly who it is. But let's talk about the Battle of Hagerstown. Jason McMillan coming up in a big way to get the number 5 seed, which secured
secured my bye.
Yeah, I mean, Jason winning did secure your bye because if Alex had won, he would be in a bye and not you. And it did mean that James plays Alex while McMillan plays Darryl. He actually, by winning, not only did he prevent Alex from the bye, but more importantly, of the 4 teams in the semifinals, if you had to pick one to play, I assume it's, even though Darryl put up 135, I assume you want to play Darryl's team, right?
Yeah, again, you were listing these teams. His was he was 8th in points scored. Like
right. So like
McMillan
did himself a huge favor by squeaking out the win here. And this was the highest scoring matchup of the week. These guys put up the second and third highest totals of the week.
Is this the most points scored in a single game by both teams? Like we've had some like 170s.
Probably not, if I had to guess. But
what's the record of points scored on the year? 170?
Yeah.
Was there ever a 170 to like 130?
I thought there might have been.
Maybe. I know I had a high scoring one against Brad at one point, but I don't know if it was that high scoring. Maybe it was. I don't know. Either way, it was a really high scoring matchup, obviously.
But I mean, when you look at this matchup, right? Like both teams had guys go off again. This is what you were talking about. Both teams buoyed by defenses over 20. The Titans at 21, the Chiefs at 24. Brady had himself a typical Brady day. It's like dude never dies. Like I will admit, I fell for the trap. I fell for the trap this year. I was saying that the post-draft podcast that this is the year that, like, there's got to be the year where Tom Brady falls off, and he's always the exception. But like, he just doesn't.
It's going to happen, and it's going to be the year that you draft him. You're going to finally be like, nah, dude's it's going to be, nah, dude's invincible. I'm drafting him like first overall, and then he's going to like I don't know, blow out his hip or something because he's 1,000 years old.
One of the moves that actually I think might have made the difference is, it didn't make the full difference, but it certainly didn't hurt his chances. I think he had Chase Edmonds in his lineup very, very late, and at the he wasn't playing at the last moment switched in Devin Singletary. That was a 12-point boon for him, so
it didn't actually make the difference. But...
It didn't make the difference, but it certainly made it. It would have been a lot closer, but for that.
Also, like, it didn't end up mattering for me. But like, everyone else in the league wanted McMillan to win because, like, then you can actually get a wild card.
Right. Well, and to be fair, Alex did leave points on his bench. He, Josh Jacobs to Melvin Gordon is the change. I don't blame him for not starting Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you're not going to start.
You're not going to
start Melvin Gordon.
You're not
over Josh Jacobs.
What is Josh Jacobs' position rank? 21. He's averaging 12.7 a game. Melvin Gordon is position rank 17, averaging 12.4 a game. I'm not saying like it's a done deal, and
the bigger thing for me was, maybe I'm missing something, but like Josh Jacobs is getting 100% of the Vegas runs, right?
But Josh Jacobs is playing against Kansas City in a game they're likely to be throwing the ball in, versus Melvin Gordon gets Detroit.
Are they? I mean, obviously against Detroit you're going to run.
They lost.
Kansas City obviously.
They lost 48-9.
No, they crushed that. Is Kansas City even good this year? I swear every other week it's like, oh shit, they're good, and then like
they go out and like in the NFL. Like,
this year has been
good this year.
Yeah, it's been so weird.
But I'm just saying that to me, if there is one micromanagitis, change of the week that you can make, it's that one. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. Um, but
Also, McMillan put up 157 despite Kelsey having a down day. Like Kelsey could easily put up
and
20, 25.
Gronk getting single digits is rare.
Oh shit, he started Gronk in the super flat. I remember Jerry mentioned it. I was like,
This
still
is what
seems a
he should have
little
been doing.
extreme.
No, he should if you, like the last. I think he lost a matchup because he didn't start Gronk he didn't do the double tight end because
Well, sure, but like that's like results wise.
Gronk has put up 25, 17, 7, and then he got injured, and then 10, 15, 19, and 8. Like
he straight up has 2 wide receivers who he gets to start as tight ends. Honestly, you know where he fucked up? By not trading one.
I said this weeks ago. That was weeks ago, motherfucker. I'm partying. No, I said this weeks ago.
How can that is just McMillan deserves to not win the championship. His team is so ridiculously stacked, especially when he still had Derrick Henry. But even still, it's ridiculous. But that's fantasy football malpractice to not trade either Kelsey or Gronk.
Let me tell you why his team is going to come down to earth, and now he's going to win the championship because I'm saying this. But let me tell you why he's going to come down to earth. It's 4 words: Cam Newton, Derek Carr. And Derek Carr is viable, right? But Derek Carr is also going to have games like this one where he puts up 10. Do you really trust Derek? I mean, and the thing is, he has he did do this with Thielen and Henderson out. But he also started Singletary, who put up 12, and Hunter Renfrow, who put up 22. He got viable starts out of this. James Conner's not going to put up 29 every week because Chase Edmonds is going to be splitting those carries. So, he had some fortuitous circumstances here in a week he definitely took advantage of. But I do think there is reason for him to come back to earth.
Okay, let me put it this way. Is he going to put up 157 every week? No, of course. Of course not.
Also, Alex did give me some insight really quick. Sorry, he indicated it was a tough decision. Sure. Gordon was also hurt the week before and limited in practice. Yeah, again, I'm not really second guessing, and I'm just talking about the hindsight is 2020 thing. Obviously, either way, you made the playoffs, right? Job's not finished, but you got to the promise. You didn't get to the promised land. You're walking towards the promised land. You're not out yet. You're not eliminated. So it ain't all that bad.
Tom Brady, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. He just keeps wrecking shit.
If you had told me Tom Brady is QB2, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah, what the fuck? Where did he draft him? I'm assuming it was 3rd or 4th round at least.
It was 3rd round.
26th overall. So yeah, mid 3rd round.
Quarterbacks went early. And I remember that I was shitting all over that pick. Get Tom Brady in the 4th or 5th. Man, he knew something I didn't. Credit where credit's due.
Is it quick to pull up the draft? I want to know what number QB he was drafted because I would guess he was 15 to 20th.
I'll look it up.
Or maybe not. Maybe 10 to 15th.
I can pull it up right now.
Extreme. Okay. Because
he was. All right. It went Mahomes, Allen, Murray, Lamar, Dak, Russ, A-Rod. That's 7. Tom Brady, 8.
So the 8th overall was QB2, and it's not close. Who is the 1?
Mahomes.
I thought he was what?
Mahomes. Oh wait, who is QB1?
Yeah. I knew Mahomes went QB1. I just didn't know who. I thought Tom Brady was a QB. I thought Tom Brady was number 1 this year.
No, it's let me see. Hold on. It is. It's my boy Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I was gonna say Josh Allen's been having some weeks lately. I think Brady was one a few weeks ago.
I was struggling with the decision: do I draft Josh Allen? Do I draft Kyler Murray? Do I draft Derrick Henry at that pick?
And Josh Allen had a bad first few weeks.
he was making me regret it when I was 0-4, but man, has he been a savior.
Yeah,
he and Jonathan Taylor are my team.
Yeah, no, it's for real. But yeah, no. So like, no, McMillan's team looks really scary. If he traded like Gronk for a running back that's like, I don't know, better than Devin Singletary, or like a wide receiver who's honestly going to put up more. Like you can trade Gronk for a receiver that's going to put up more points, and you can start him in the exact same position, right? Like.
And by the way, Alex brings up another good point. Tom Brady in the third at 26 was still early from where he was going in mocks, and that's what I'm saying. Like it was still a reach.
No, we were all like, "Wow, he's 40 years old. He's 43 now, or how?"
The fact
you're the one who brought up that thing. It was like a Madden thing, right? They pulled up Tom Brady and Madden.
Yeah.
Who else was on his team? And it's like his offensive coordinator.
His backup quarterback was
against, like,
his backup quarterback's Cliff Kingsbury, coach, of the Cardinals now. Mike Vrabel was on the 2005. Tom Brady was a 95 overall in Madden. Mike Vrabel, who's coaching the Titans, is coached against Tom Brady, was on the Patriots at that point. Guys like Rodney Harrison. Who else?
I haven't heard of him like a decade.
Tony Romo was it was in the league. I think it was 1 year in the league at that point. You know who else was? His offensive coordinator. What's his name? David Garrard. There are so many guys. Like Tom Brady's an alien. Look up Tom Brady is an alien TikTok. You can watch it. So going to the last matchup of the week, and what for you might be the most satisfying.
I was sweating so fucking much during that last game. Also,
absolutely. Like
Brad said on the Brad said at the end that Hopkins was out near the end. I don't think that's true because I'm pretty sure a lot of the TD passes were to him. Like
I can tell you that in the first half, all Jerry needed was a touchdown, and he kept getting throwing to.
He kept slowly. Well, he kept slowly getting close to. It's like I was keeping track. It's like, okay, now he needs one pass for 45 yards or two passes for 40 yards. Oh, there's one pass. Okay, now he needs one pass for 30 yards. Like it just kept going like down and down and down and like, oh my god, I was watching the. I went out to watch the fourth quarter. The first three quarters, I just updated my phone. So I was like, no, I gotta fucking watch this. Like this is way too close. And it was like every throw of the end zone was to him. And then like. I don't know who else was watching the game, but near the end, the Rams guy drops a so easy interception that would have been the game. Mm-hmm. They literally just kneel it at the end and it's over. They missed that. It's like, oh my god, okay. Then like he gets another reception, so it's like an Alma by whatever it was, like 3.5, I think. And then they end up getting a sack, so they kick the field goal and then get the onside kick. I'm like, okay, nice. They kicked the field goal. He couldn't touch it there. Like the Rams are gonna get the onside kick, it's easy. And then there's two Rams people just like that are like, it's almost like they get in each other's way, and it rolls over both of them, and like the fucking the kicking team recovers it, and then it's like I'm pretty sure there were two more throws like to the end zone to DeAndre Hopkins that they're like defending it, but.
And here's the thing:
like, having a heart attack that whole time.
You limped into this matchup, right? Darren Wall
was out. Elijah Mitchell was out.
Right. You had a lot of injuries. And to be fair, he had Keenan Allen.
The two running backs I started, I picked off waivers in the last week or 2 weeks. So I picked Burkhead the week before. Jerry was pissed that James let Jeff Wilson Jr. go, but I think the guy I was looking at put up like 8 or 9, so I actually would have gotten more points if James had kept him.
Wait, he's done for the year?
Who?
Whoa! I mean, not that it necessarily matters because Jerry's already out, but apparently, injured. He's done for the year. They're bracing for the possibility he'll be out for 2 to 4 months once he undergoes surgery for a torn MCL. Wow! I mean, it doesn't really matter for Jerry because he didn't have Keenan Allen in. He'll hopefully have Keenan Allen back next week or this week. But like. This was like you limped into this matchup. He only had he had the lesser of the injuries.
So there was one point during that day that ESPN had me at 1%.
Yep.
And it wasn't even that early. It was just right before Devontae Adams played. Because like basically what had to happen was Devontae Adams had to have like a really good day, which he did. And then DeAndre Hopkins had to have a bad day, which he did.
But Devontae saved your season. He absolutely did. And I will say, if you had to blame, I don't think you blame Nuke for this. I think if you had to blame the biggest underperformer here, it's obviously the Washington football team. Taylor Heineke putting up 7.5.
Yeah.
And Ricky Seals-Jones putting up less than 2. Again, Jerry was dealing with the injury to Hawkinson, so he's starting a backup tight end and just gets nothing out of him, because he didn't need much here. But I don't know that. I mean, he had no other options, right? Daniel Jones is out, so he's got to start Heineke.
The only thing that changes anything is we both recently picked up backup Chargers wide receivers, and they both had good games.
That was strange.
Guyton put up 16. Palmer put up 15.
Yeah.
OBJ actually had a game. I'm actually
fuck you.
OBJ looks like he's hitting a stride. I think I'm gonna be able to start him in the playoffs. If I don't know for sure if I'm gonna need to, but
Van Jefferson also had a comparable day. So fuck you.
Well, I mean, fuck you for making this about you.
I'm still mad about you ghosting me during our OBJ trade talks before Robert Woods gets done for the year.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And then having the balls to message me afterwards saying, OBJ looking better now. Dick.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, it's gonna come down to I'll be making a decision between Mike Williams and OBJ probably.
I mean,
if OBJ looks as good, and if OBJ looks as good as he did last week, next week, I feel like I have to start him over. Williams is bad. Williams has actually been deep. He started off super hot. He was the wide receiver 1 after 4 weeks, I think, and then he really cooled down. But the last few weeks, he's been getting more touches. He's getting a TD, I think, between 0 and 1 TDs a game, which is fine.
Yeah.
Let's
unless you have
also wait. Let me say one other quick thing. This was also so much karma after Jerry spent the entire fucking year shitting on my team, and then I end up winning by 3 and knocking him out of the playoffs. Also,
this was a revenge game for you. After last year.
Oh yeah, he also beat me in the championship last year.
Right, it's a revenge game. God, this is a pattern. I did the same thing. So James beat me in the title, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? And the very next season, I played him in the playoffs. This is in the playoffs and knocked him out. But it's it is kind of funny how that revenge theme does happen sometimes.
But also talking about points scored, Jerry got really unlucky with a lot of injuries. Do you know what he was in total points scored in the league?
9th.
10th.
Wow.
Last. And he was 3 points away from making the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, Darryl was 9th or 8th in points scored and made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I
mean, he also did not deserve to make the playoffs, but
that's why we play the game.
Yeah.
So let's go.
In case you haven't heard, there's a little bit of luck in fantasy football.
There's a lot of luck in fantasy football. Let's go to the playoff bracket. I'm going to post it for everybody else to see. This is where we're at. McMillan and Darryl currently underway with the home team being Darryl as the 4 seed, and then Alex at James being the home team as the 3 seed. The only reason I say home team is because we haven't had a tie yet in the decimal scoring era.
Oh my god, this would be the best time to have a tie.
Well, if a tie occurs, the home team as the higher seed will automatically win.
Oh my god. Okay, this is what I'm rooting for this week. McMillan and James to tie. McMillan puts up the most points scored of the year, has the first tie in the decimal scoring era, and loses because
McMillan and James aren't playing each other.
No, I said McMillan. I think I said McMillan and Darryl, but that's what I meant if I didn't say it.
Yeah.
we can check the tapes.
Go to the tape.
Yeah, no, if McMillan and Darryl tie, that will be so funny. Just not fair at all, but I will laugh my ass off. So that's what I'm rooting for.
Let me ask you this: out of these 6 teams that you're looking at, out of these 6, I guess the other 5 teams, why would I choose that pick? Because you look fantastic in it. You look fantastic, Alex. You really pull off a nice Kevin Federline. So if out of all the teams aside from your own, we're not going to have any self-filleting here like Jerry likes to do.
Oh, my team is not the best team.
If you had to pick one team you do not want to face at any point that you hope gets eliminated before you have to play them, who is it and why?
It's Alex, and it's not close. Like before Derrick Henry went down, it was McMillan for sure. McMillan looks a little less strong without Henry putting up like 30, 40 points a game. But like, I don't know. I just look at Alex's team and like, I think McMillan overtook him at the end for points scored, but like he had the most points scored. You just look like up and down. It's just, I don't know. It's really scary. Like everyone on his team can drop like, I guess Josh Jacobs doesn't have super high upside, but he just gets the ball so many times. It's just like everyone else, like even like, when did he get his tight end, Pat Freiermuth? Did he get him off of like waivers or something?
He was absolutely a waiver.
and then somehow he's putting up like 15, 20 a week. This week he put up like 10.2, but I don't know. And he, like Alex has put up like 130 plus, like how many times this year? Like I said, I did no research for this week because I didn't know I was going to be on the podcast until like a couple hours ago. But
we appreciate you being on it.
But like, and maybe there's some bias here that I didn't look at the data, but like I swear every week I look and Alex is putting up like 130 plus.
Yeah.
And I haven't broken 110 in like 4 weeks.
I was trying
like
to
McMillan like put up a ton of points this week, but I'm pretty sure last week he put up like 90. Like I feel like his team is much more up and down, whereas Alex is just like consistently putting up like an amount that he needs to win. Like this week was an anomaly where 144 wasn't enough, but like
I was trying to make a counterpoint, but literally here's the only fact you need to know. Alex's team through 14 weeks has yet to drop below 100 points in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the only team who holds that honor that has not gotten below 100 points in any game this year in 14 weeks, and that's a tall.
His team just has such a high floor. Yeah. Like I said, Josh Jacobs not like I don't think you expect him to be like putting up 40 every week.
Now there is the wild card of COVID though. Now more than ever. Of course, this all happens right as the playoffs are starting too.
Yeah.
So,
just another reason to be so lucky to have that first round bye. Yeah, in my first
virtual high five.
when I made the playoffs, I think I texted you what I thought the brackets were going to be, and I don't know what I messed up, but I thought that it was going to be McMillan James on my side, and I remember I told you I was like, okay, I'm definitely more scared of James than I am of Darryl, and I'm way more scared of Alex than I am of McMillan. I'm really glad I don't have to face him until the championship.
My best
and
case
then I realized
scenario.
I was wrong.
I mean, I don't know. Darryl and McMillan both have Darryl scored 135. I think the last 2 weeks. McMillan just has that high ceiling. So yeah, I mean, at this point, like the team, there's like Darryl is obviously the lowest total point score, but even he's had a resurgence of late. Same for James, as like the 2 weakest teams out of the 6 have both like been strong lately. So really, I mean, this is the beauty of the playoffs, right? Anything can happen. And with that, I think it's a good time for some predictions. We already have 4 games underway, 2 playoffs and 2 Sacko games. So let's start with the playoffs because obviously winners go first. Right now, McMillan is leading in his game against Darryl 10-0, but the projection is actually even. Now I don't know. I'm going to look really quick to see if.
Well, also he has the benefit. He also has the benefit of the defense. Like whenever your defense is going, the ESPN projection is too high. Like I think what it does is it assumes you're going to like it's like, all right, we think they're going to get 7. So in the last quarter, we project you to put up like 1.5 or whatever that math is.
Yeah.
Whereas in reality, it's probably going to go down after you get your initial 10.
Looks like
Kelsey with 7.4 is probably under his projection.
Yeah.
And 3 is obviously under the Chiefs' projection, and they're probably only going to go lower. I don't know. Maybe they get a pick or something here.
Well, it's still the fourth quarter. There, Kelsey could still do something, but I think the Chiefs D, but both could do something, but it's pretty unlikely.
Sorry, they could definitely do something. They could definitely do something between the now and the end of the game. I'm just saying, when you're in the fourth quarter, you expect Kelsey to Like, that's how ridiculous it is that you can start Kelsey at tight end and he gets 7.4 in 3 quarters and you're upset. Like, fucking when I start Myles Gaskin, if he had 7.4 through 3 quarters, I'd be like, oh my God, yes. Like, he'll probably get to double digits this game. Whereas, like, Kelsey, it's like, it's not terrible, but not great.
The projection here is actually, though, still close. So that brings me to the question of who you got.
How do I pull up the matchups? I have the fantasy cast up, and it doesn't show matchups. Wait, yeah, it does. It has the team name against.
You can also go to box score too. If you go to like the scoreboard and then box score, it should do it there.
Oh, okay. Let me pull that up. If you want to go first, you can. I'm pulling up the box score, or if you want to wait 30 seconds.
I'm looking at this. I see a couple good matchups on both sides. Both of them have a lot's going to actually hinge on. I think the tight ends in this matchup. I mean, this is I actually think this is more even than, like, if you would have told me 3 weeks ago, hey, for quarterfinals of the playoffs, McMillan versus Darryl, who you got? Like, I'm instantly saying McMillan without thinking 3 weeks ago. But looking at these teams now, Saquon's back. Darryl made that trade. He did give away Kamara, but he got Cordell Patterson. He's. I see some life out of Darryl's team. I do think McMillan's roster is overall the more talented roster. Like, I think the projection of Tom Brady only outscoring Taysom Hill by 1.5 is maybe a little bit light. There are some questionable players on both teams. And again, there are, like I said, 2 Dallas receivers is going against the Giants. It might just be who has the bigger day there that could give it a big edge to somebody. They both have like some QB stacks. Darryl with San Francisco. McMillan has the Raiders stack right now. Gun to my head, here's what I think. And this is going to be an upset pick. I'm going Darryl.
So you're picking Darryl.
I'm going Darryl, and here's why. I think the game between Atlanta and San Francisco could be a high-scoring game, and I think it could be good for Garoppolo, Kittle, and for Cordell Patterson. If I had to pick one Dallas receiver who's going to blow up against the Giants, I lean CeeDee Lamb. If I had to pick one running back out of Saquon or Darrell Henderson, especially with Henderson right now, he was out last week, I go Barkley. Yes, he has McMillan has the edge on the Brady Hill matchup, but is that enough to overcome all of these other matchups aside from maybe the flex where he has Gronk versus Damian Harris? I say no, especially in considering that he's got, and this is maybe my bias showing, Darryl. I'm flipping him off right now. You can't see because you can't see my camera.
Oh.
Darryl added the Dolphins defense. He sniped the Dolphins defense from me when my budget was depleted. I really wanted them. I would be starting them throughout the rest of the season because of their light schedule and the fact that they've really found some form lately. They get the Jets. I mean,
they have the Jets. Like,
when they played the Jets a couple weeks ago, they put up only 5. But listen to their scores. That was a not less than dramatic reveal.
Yeah, you could tell you didn't do that research yet.
But look at the last 5 weeks for them. Listen to the last 5 weeks. Ready? 17, 18, 5, 23, 9. That's a huge boost for a defense to be providing like double digits, obviously. And if the Chiefs right now, I mean, granted, we're kind of metagaming because we know some additional information here, but if the Chiefs are only putting up 3, I think the Dolphins are going to outscore that, and that gives Darryl a slight edge.
So like, I know you're not the biggest fan of projections, but this is the biggest projection gap I've seen in defenses actually in a long time. Like, I honestly think that if I had the Chiefs defense, I'm not sure how good they're doing, but regardless of how good they're doing, and they're playing the Chargers, like, you go to the waiver wire for a new defense this week. Like,
yeah.
And like, basically whoever's playing the Jets or the Jaguars you bid on, like,
especially knowing in week 3 when these two teams faced off, because it's again division rivals. You play twice in the season. They play the Chargers week 3 and put up -3. Like, you really want to roll those dice again? with
Justin
Herbert. Come on.
So I feel like I'm someone who turns defenses maybe more than the average, but like usually what I'm looking for is like a projection of 7 to 8. Like one of the things I've like kind of factored in is I think that ESPN goes a little bit too much with like your matchup versus like when it's a team that the defense is just terrible, even if they're playing a bad team, like you gotta like
we're shit talking the Chiefs and helping McMillan. They just got a fumble. They just got a fumble.
Okay, I saw they had an extra 2 points.
Yeah, Alex but still, just texted or posted in the chat.
No, but at the end of the day with 5, like, are you happy? They outscored their projection. They outscored their projection by half a point. But, like, are you happy?
I'm okay knowing they played the Chargers.
Well, yeah, which is why he didn't like he shouldn't have started then. He, like who? Right. Wait. I want to check right now actually. What is the defense? So first of all, he could have bid on the Dolphins, right? Because like
no, the Dolphins have been Darryl added them a couple weeks ago.
Oh, a couple weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah, this was a while back, but this is before the trade deadline because I was trying to trade for him. The highest projected defense right now.
Yeah, right now.
Ironically,
7.2.
The head coachless Jaguars at 7.2. We'll see about that.
Oh man, I don't know if I would trust that one.
If I had to pick a defense in the waiver wire, honestly, I probably go maybe Titans or Colts. They're not ideal matchups, but
I might even pick the Texans over the Jaguars, even though I know the Jaguars are projected more. But
who does Cleveland play? Maybe the Raiders. No, the Raiders have a terrible defense.
Yeah. I don't know, but like all of these are projected to put up like 6 or 7. The Chiefs were projected 4.5. I know projections aren't everything, but like
I would go Colts. Colts are coming off a bye. The Patriots have to come down to earth eventually. Their offense isn't that good.
Have to come back to earth eventually. So, same story as Tom Brady.
No, seriously, the Patriots are out. Their record is they should not be where their record has them. Yes. Oh, yeah. Did they beat the Bills? Absolutely. Do they deserve a win? Absolutely not.
Not at all. Yeah, no. So okay, so I'm just gonna go back to the
one more thing.
Go ahead, and then I'll go up. Then I'll do my take on the matchup.
This is your point on the defenses, though. Mm-hmm. McMillan apparently, because I think I did try to bid on these guys and I couldn't get them. McMillan dropped the Bills D for Devin Singletary when he added Devin Singletary to play him instead of Chase Edmonds. Mm-hmm. He dropped.
Who do the Bills play?
The Bills defense. I don't know, but the Bills are the number 2 defense in football.
So like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of holding on to a defense because of how good they are, just because it's so dependent on who they're playing.
Sorry, number 3 defense in football, but they're playing the Panthers, who are one of the worst offenses in the league.
Yeah, no. So then you definitely want them.
He shouldn't have dropped them. That was a dumb decision.
I planned the defense I have now for the playoffs because I was like, okay, what are their matchups? I think this was the only time I had 2 defenses was when I picked up my second one for the playoffs.
And he still has $1,000 in his budget. Oh my god!
Yeah, he hasn't bid anything.
We talk about this every week.
I swear he's gonna wait until the last week and just
drop a grand
it all on someone.
Yeah.
Wait, who is the second most? I don't want to give him free advice, but I'm about to.
I mean, what you're gonna tell him is he should bid $1 more than the whoever has the second most.
No, even more OP. What is the second most? Do you have it, or I can pull it up real quick?
I'm looking it up right now. It's 874 for Brad of all people, and those are the only 2 with any with more than 50%. Everyone else has at most. It's next is James with 282. So the rest of us have pretty depleted our budgets.
So here's what I'm about to say. He has 874. He has 2 weeks left, right? To bid on anything. He can drop, what is it? 874. 125 on anyone he wants next week, and it doesn't impact anything. I guess if he wants multiple people the next week, it'll impact stuff. But also, he can bid 125 and still have more than everyone else. So
Alex,
you can basically get.
Alex only bid 40 on the Bills defense. McMillan could have had him back if he just bid something.
Yeah. Which again, he could bid 200 and still have 800 left.
Who you got?
So I think it's going to be very close. I really just want to like have my official stance be no, I'm picking a tie because it is going to be close. And it would be really funny if this was a tie. It's just so unlikely, especially with like quarterbacks being a different sort of scale.
It can only happen if the quarterbacks match, like get
within 4. Yeah, they have to have like the same multiple of 4, right?
Right.
It's like, or no, not even multiple of 4. It's like 0.04, 0.0. I don't know what the fuck the math is, but
multiple of 4 though, because it's like a 0.04, 0.08, 0.12, 0.16, 0.20. Like that sort of thing. Like it has to
multiple of 5.
Oh, multiple 5. There you go.
Yeah, so you gotta like basically outscore the other QB in points by a multiple of 5 yards. It's like 0, 5, 10, 15, etc. Right? Like
correct. That's
the only way for there to be a tie.
Correct.
So it's like 80% of the time, there's no tie because of that.
And then it's tie that outright, and then you actually have to get the same exact number of points.
Mm-hmm.
With decimals, it's like we haven't seen it for a reason in several years because
it's so unlikely. But it would be so funny if it happened. Like I said, McMillan's gonna hate it. I would feel bad for him, but not bad enough for him to not laugh hysterically when it happened.
Assuming it's not a tie, who you got?
I think I got Darryl. Like I think it is.
You went upset with me. I love it.
I think it's going to be really close, but just like, and also we do have the bet. I think that if I were making this prediction, Chiefs are down to 4 now. By the way, I think they gave up some more points. If we had done this prediction before the game, I still would say it's close, but I might lead McMillan. But like, knowing that Kelsey didn't go off is like a big benefit to Darryl. Like,
sure.
I don't know. Just like looking, the one thing I'm concerned about. Well, I never know how to predict like wide receivers against teams like Detroit. It's like AJ Green against Detroit, right? It's like, all right, Detroit is fucking awful. So you expect him to do really well, but you also know that they're going to be winning by a lot and they're going to run the ball a lot, right? So like,
yeah,
I never know how to do that. Same with CeeDee Lamb against the Giants, but like the same math, regardless of what it is, applies to Amari Cooper. So
yeah,
like you said, like if one of them goes off, who's it going to be? Like I'm going to pick Lamb over Cooper. Renfro's had some real good games last few weeks, but like he's due to come back to earth eventually, right? Like he's not going to keep putting up 20-25. Yeah, Derek Carr against Cleveland, but he hasn't been like super steady quarterback before. Like
he's been inconsistent.
Yeah, like obviously Tom Brady's Tom Brady. Like I said, I don't understand why Taysom Hill is actually projected within 1 point of Brady. Like I get it, he runs the ball and he's way more likely to get rushing touchdowns.
That's
like,
what it is. It's the Jalen Hurts effect.
I was gonna say, as someone who has Jalen Hurts, who's been really bad at football this year, but really good at fantasy when he's not injured.
Right.
I'm assuming that's what's going on with Taysom Hill.
Mobile quarterbacks are the meta. They're two like primarily rushing quarterbacks that like are going to get value just by their mobility.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if McMillan wins. I think it's going to be very, very close. But if I have to pick one, I'm picking Darryl.
Here's another one for you. The team you're most afraid of, Alex, up against James. Projection says Alex by 10. Neither one has anyone playing tonight, so we're going into this blind. Who you got?
Let me look real quick. I mean, I can't imagine I don't pick Alex. Like projections by 10 are not common either. Like that's a pretty big gap. Yeah, I mean the big mismatch is okay. Teddy Bridgewater versus Matt Stafford. Like, I do like. I in theory, I'm a Broncos fan. I care way more about fantasy football than the Broncos, but like Teddy Bridgewater is not a great QB. Kyler Murray against Rodgers. Like Rodgers has been doing well this year, right? But like Kyler Murray's clearly the better quarterback.
Kyler's had some bad days at the office lately.
Okay.
Yeah, he put up. I shouldn't say that. He put up 30 in his first game back. Then he put up 17 last week against the Rams in what should have been a shootout. He does get Detroit. That is a huge.
Yeah, I was gonna say like And that's the other thing is like usually quarterbacks don't do the best against bad teams because they run the ball a lot. But
so you're picking Alex.
I don't know if this. Let me go through a few more things first. But I feel like when you have a rushing QB, they actually call a lot more quote unquote pass plays against bad, like when they're up a lot, and then they just run the ball. Like I know Jalen Hurts does that. I feel like I've seen like Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, and like some of the other more mobile QBs do that. We'll see. Maybe I'm way off base there. Obviously, I feel like okay. So if James wins, it's going to be because Dalvin Cook has himself a day, which he does pretty often. How is the Tennessee defense wide receivers? Because Deontay Johnson, like he's had a few good weeks recently, right?
The Tennessee defense is the second to worst pass defense for wide receivers.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's a great matchup.
Yeah, no, so I could see Deontay Johnson going off. I don't know. I'm still going Alex. It seems just scary top to bottom when I look at it. Like I'm rooting for James. I really hope James wins. I don't think he will.
So the question that I have, the only question I have, I do think James did some savvy things here. Do I think Alex has the edge? Absolutely.
He got Rashad Penny. That was
a huge. I mean, I was bidding on. I think like everyone should have been bidding on Rashad Penny as like the waiver wire target of the week.
I fucked up so much because I got the days of the week mixed up, and I tried to bid yesterday, and that's when I realized like it had already happened.
Like he was the waiver wire target of the week. James was smart to get him.
How many dollars did he go for?
He went for.
I'm trying to think of like whether I would have got him if I actually.
311.
Oh no fucking way! I feel like I would have bid maybe like 50, 60.
Yeah, James fired a big bullet to get him, and rightfully so. Like this late in the season, to get that kind of production out of a running back, he needed, especially he started him as flex. He's getting utility out of him. There are favorable matchups.
He has no wide receivers he could start in the flex.
There are favorable matchups both ways, right? Like Kyler Murray gets Detroit. Aaron Rodgers gets Baltimore. Again, both Detroit's the worst defense by far, but Baltimore's nothing to write home about these days. Anyway, I think they're they're like a bottom 10 fantasy defense against quarterbacks.
It's not the 2000s anymore.
The other matchups to watch, anytime you can go against Chicago, it's a great matchup. So Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook both have favorable matchups. I honestly,
Thielen's out this week, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's why Justin Jefferson looks a lot better.
And Debo also has a good matchup against the Falcons.
Also, again, Mitchell's out, so like Debo probably is going to get more work with rushes as well.
But like you identified, Deontay Johnson also favorable matchup against a weak Tennessee secondary. Even the defenses have good matchup. Bills are a much better overall start, I think, against Carolina. But the Cowboys have been hot lately, and they're playing the Giants. So, like, a lot of good matchups here. This actually could be the highest scoring matchup of the week, in my view.
I think so, too.
Alex has the better team on paper. And the only thing that even remotely scares me about Alex's team is I still don't know if I trust David Montgomery and Josh Jacobs. I don't think he can do anything different. I would start the same two guys.
But they're both starting running backs at flex in a half-point PPR league.
Montgomery's questionable, but, and since he's been back, he's been solid. But he also has only had one game where he put up 24. Other than that, he's been kind of like, okay, like average flex-ish worthy, but nothing. He only boomed once. Josh Jacobs, again, is the same kind of thing. Like, yes, could he get you 11, 14, 18, 19? Sure. Could he also get you 7, 8, 6? Sure. Like, and if both those guys miss with James having Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Deontay Johnson, Mark Andrews, Hollywood, like you could see a situation where Alex is playing catch up. So I think this is gonna be the highest scoring game of the week. I do have concerns about Alex's team. It wouldn't shock me if he lost. With that said, in the playoffs, Don't
So
start
you're
your.
picking Alex though, right?
I'm absolutely picking Alex because in the
Okay.
playoffs you always start your studs and you rock chalk. So I got to go with Alex until and unless someone proves otherwise. Alex is. I agree with you. Alex is the team to beat.
Yeah. Like I said, rooting hardcore for James. But
before we go into the Sacko, Alex did ask me to show the waiver report. Here's the waiver report for this week. The bids for Rashad Penny were James put in 311, Alex put in 211, Darryl put in 201, and I put in 17 because I didn't have a lot of budget left. The only other additions for that, both Alex and I tried to add the Bills defense. He put in $41, I put in $1, so he won that one. But he then couldn't get the 49ers defense because he had already dropped the Titans D to get the Bills. And therefore, I got the 49ers defense for $1.
that's a weird... I never understand how it works when multiple people want multiple people.
So, like, the reason that happened the way it did is because Alex wanted to get either the Bills... He wanted to get the Bills D if he could. If not, he was getting the 49ers D. But he was dropping the Titans D either way. So once the Titans D got dropped for the Bills D, he can't re-drop them again. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
So the waiver cancels.
And I see. So sorry. So he was going for D's either way. Okay.
Yeah, we were both going for the same defenses. He got he paid more for the premier defense, and because of that, I got the sloppy seconds for the same price.
That makes sense. Okay.
So that only leaves the Sacko matchups, and we'll start with the only one that should take any time to predict, Window and Jerry.
I kind of wish we'd done this before the game started, but
yeah, it definitely. I mean, the projections, interestingly, favor Window significantly.
No, not this game. The next game we're gonna do.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I feel like my choice wouldn't change, but we'll get to that when we get to that matchup. But
So we're at the fourth quarter. Eckler did get a touchdown, and it has 15. Keenan Allen only has 6. Jared Cook, Jerry hates Jared Cook. And the fact that he's starting him in his Sacko semi is hilarious. But he doesn't have a choice because he doesn't have any other tight ends.
He also like it's not by a lot, but Guyton's outscoring Keenan Allen.
Well, and Tyler Lockett's out this week too.
Oh shit! So he's starting Julio Jones where he would normally start.
Put it this way: we know the projection.
Or Chuba Hubbard.
We know the projection right now favors Window by 15 essentially, but the average of their rosters that are starting right now favors Window by about the same margin.
Mm-hmm. So honestly, these matchups haven't changed a ton, right? Like they both are underperforming. Like Mahomes is not having a good game. What's his line? Like he's at 13 points, but like, does he have some picks or fumbles or?
Who? Mahomes?
Yeah, Mahomes. Yeah.
Right now he has 23 for 34, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a fumble.
A pick and a fumble, so that'll do it. Yeah, I mean, like he's not 13 is not what you want out of Mahomes. Again,
it is still a close game, so there is still potential for garbage time here.
It could go to OT too.
Yeah.
Which would favor Jerry, not Window, by the way. Right?
Depends on who gets the ball.
That's true. No, if the Chiefs get the ball, obviously it's Window. But if you don't know who gets the ball, I feel like if you're Window, you don't want OT because you have the QB, but Jerry has the entire Chargers team.
Right now, Chargers
tied it
or had the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we expect Jerry to get. I feel like this is going to be really close. I feel like.
I disagree.
Who's going to run away with it then?
Window.
Really? I thought you were going the opposite way.
No. And again, Mahomes underperformed, but do you really expect Heineke and Ben Roethlisberger to capitalize. Granted, again, Big Ben does have Tennessee's secondary. We talked about the problems there.
Yeah.
But, like, do you really expect them to compensate, Heineke and Roethlisberger to compensate enough to make up for Mahomes having a slightly down day by an average quarterback standards, when you couple that with the fact that Tua, who's been surgically efficient in the last like 4 or 5 weeks as the Dolphins have gone from 1-7 to 6-7 against the Jets. Right, exactly. Not to mention the other matchups that Window has that are favorable. James Robinson against Houston, Stephon Diggs against Carolina, Dawson Knox against Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, and
Devontae Williams, I think, is going to come back to earth, but like he's had some real good weeks the last few weeks too.
I honestly think that, again, we're playing with extra information here, but
Devontae Williams' last 3 weeks: 18.6, 26.8, 20.8.
He's been so good that Michael Pittman, who is a decent flex play, Window is going away from, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have picked I don't know that I would have picked Window if I hadn't seen the scoreline thus far. But I just think those 3 Chargers players needed to do more, and they still can, right? Like, there's still time. They're driving right now. They could easily score a touchdown or 2 in the remainder of this game and make me eat my words. But right now, honestly, I'm looking at these rosters. I just think Window has a slight edge here and could walk away with it. And if so, Jerry finds himself in the extremely unfortuitous position of going from a champion to a Sacko finalist. And that's kind of poetic justice, I guess. So I'm going with Window.
Yeah, I mean, so Jalen Hurts is back this week, right? Like that kind of hurts Miles Sanders. But like Miles Sanders against Washington's a pretty solid matchup, right?
I mean, is it? Like I'll look it up.
I thought Washington's defense was pretty bad this year. Like Chuba Hubbard against Buffalo is not great. Like Ben Roethlisberger
12th. They're the 12th best. So like it's bottom half.
Really? Okay. Ben Roethlisberger against Tennessee is a good matchup, but it's Ben Roethlisberger. Like he has like solid defense.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Like I don't even know how.
Ben Roethlisberger.
I don't even know how good the
Taylor Heineke are averaging 15 a game.
Yeah. No, like so that's the other thing. Like Mahomes is having I would call it a pretty bad game. He's putting up roughly what both of Jerry's QBs are projected. Which, by the way, like this was the great experiment, right? Like I know there were some injuries that like confounded everything, but Jerry and Darryl were the two that punted on QBs to late, right?
Yep. And they were both bottom 3 in scoring.
Jerry was last in scoring. Darryl was 8th, but again, they both got kind of hit with injuries. So like I don't know if it's the best. We can't just say like, oh, it's because they're QBs, but just like it doesn't help when you're like starting Taylor Heineke and Ben Roethlisberger at QB. Like,
well, it's just you have to like again you have to nail your other picks. Like if they had a team.
The biggest
like
thing for Jerry is McCaffrey. Like Jerry's team looked really scary if you didn't look at QBs like 8 weeks ago, or how many weeks ago since McCaffrey went down.
All right.
Like okay, you don't have McCaffrey.
God.
Like Tyler Lockett got injured. Did he lose anything else to injuries? I feel like he had 1 or 2 more.
I think he did. I can't help it. Oh, Keenan Allen scored a touchdown.
Oh shit!
I might need to eat my words. No, I'm still going Window.
The projection is still Window by 7. I don't know. I think this will actually be a really close matchup. Who do I want to go with? I just want to create a difference here. I'm gonna go Jerry. I think Jerry's gonna pull this out. I think he's gonna avoid the Sacko. After this week, I'll say who I think the other one's gonna be. But I think Window's gonna be playing on the Sacko. I mean, I hope you enjoyed his wedding because I had a ton of fun. It was great, but
I enjoyed the Zoom.
He's gonna come back from his honeymoon. He's gonna play in the Sacko, and we'll see if he wins or loses.
Well, I mean, he should win because he'll be playing Brad there. So the Brad.
Like I said, I didn't want to jump the gun before we did the next.
Oh, absolutely, no, we're there.
But yeah.
Justin Herbert 22 already, Tyreek 20, Jason Smith doing like he's gonna demolish. He's taking out all his frustration on the poor people who have to play him in the Sacko playoffs.
Wait, the really funny part is, didn't Jason Smith lose to Brad in a matchup that if he had won, he'd have made the playoffs?
Yes. Brad
like
mollywopped
the second
hell out of
the second to last week of the season.
I don't know if it was second to last week of the season, but it was definitely like
it was. No, because that was when I was trying to trade.
No. I beat Jason Smith the second to last week of the season. But
is it the third to last time?
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that recent. I'll look it up right now. Team schedule.
Because it was when the trade deadline was about to expire. I thought. So I was talking to Jason about.
He lost to Brad in week 5.
Sorry. I'm thinking about no. He also did Darryl the second last week. That's what I was thinking
of. That is true. He lost.
So he he beat Brad in the last game of the season. That's what I was thinking. I'm sorry. I mixed everything up.
You're fine. So,
but yeah, no, he was projected to win by 18, and both of his players are over projection, and Brad's only player is under projection.
Yeah, no, it's a no-brainer. It's obviously Jason Smith, and Brad wrote in the chat, when I inevitably lose, I assume Jason Smith, and I have agreed to do Waffle House together. We actually have now a full table. We have whoever wins the Sacko this year. We have Jason McMillan, who needs to do it still. We have Jason Smith, who needs to do it still, and Jerry, who technically needs to do it still since he agreed to because of the whole SAT thing that didn't really end up happening that one year. So we have...
Oh, that was a weird situation.
Well, whatever. I mean, he might win. He might earn one outright.
If he volunteered to do it, then sure.
I think he
but
did.
He showed up to do it. Just no one really proctored it, I guess. I think is what happened, right?
It was less proctored. I did a better job proctoring it the first year than I did, and Jerry and I both did than we did the second year. We were also drinking that a lot that day, but either way, we're gonna have anywhere from 3 to 4 people who need to go to Waffle House, so we need to make this happen this year for real. But it's obviously especially Smith that's gonna win.
Yeah, like as much shit as like Jerry was talking to Jason last week, I was real like Jason doesn't deserve to be here, so I'm glad he's gonna win here and not have to be a Sacko. But like, would it not be poetic justice if Jason beat Jerry in the Sacko? As much shit that Jerry was talking to Jason last week.
I mean,
or on Sunday.
I think it'd be more poetic justice for Jason to be the Sacko, Jason Smith to be the Sacko, because that's how fantasy football is. The moment you assemble a super team, it's destined to fail.
Yeah, I was talking about this shit talking, but yeah, no, like I don't know what to even say. Like Jason's obviously gonna win. His team is way too stacked. The only hope that I'm trying to look at Brad's matchups and see if there's like a silver lining or something that could happen that pushes it up. It's like, okay, starting DK Metcalf, he's been garbage, and they're against the Rams. Like, is there anyone who really has a ton of upside?
I mean, like Jamar Chase could go off. Like he's got a bunch of boomer bust players, right? Lamar Jackson, Aaron Jones.
Is Lamar Jackson playing?
Chris Godwin.
We talked earlier about how he left last week's game like after putting up 1 point. I don't know how many minutes, but
he didn't practice Thursday. He's missed 2 straight practices. Tomorrow's a walkthrough.
And if he does play, do you expect him to be 100%? And the biggest thing is like his value is running, right? If his ankle's not 100%, is he going to be leaving the pocket?
You know, Brad could always start Trevor Lawrence now that he doesn't have Urban Meyer weighing him down. They do have Houston. Just saying.
I mean, like if Lamar Jackson plays, you have to start him over Trevor Lawrence. Jesus. Yeah, but it's like his bench is just so shallow too. Jesus. Okay.
We're over.
I mean, obviously, Jason's gonna win. I don't want to spend more time looking how bad Brad's team is.
It's not close. Yeah. Sorry, Brad. But that is our show. And one more time, I'm going to post the playoff matchups. McMillan versus Darryl. Winner plays me. Alex versus James. Winner plays Zach. For a trip to the Shiva Bowl and that beautiful trophy, and I think $700 beautiful dollars. Is that what we decided?
Yeah, or I thought, is it 7 or?
It's either 6 or 7. I'll look it up right now in our rules.
It's either 6. I think it's 7-2-1. I still think it should be 6. I think it should be 6-3-1, but I think it's 7-2-1 is what we voted on.
It is.
It's 7-2-1 unless it changed in last year.
As someone who's it wouldn't have changed.
As someone who was in the championship last year.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was just trying to look it up on the. Yeah, I guess I can't find it anywhere, but
it's 7-2-1.
Okay,
that's what we did last year anyway.
Here we go. I'm looking at it right here. That's an old one. Rules meeting.
I mean, you can post it later. It's. I promise you, it's 7-2-1.
You promise?
Yeah. I promise you. Last year it was 7-2, because I remember thinking like the playoffs is playing for $500, or the championship is playing for $500.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 7-2-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, Zach, for joining us on the pod. Thank you, Brad and Alex, for being so great in the chat. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. You know, we're at the point now where it's anything can happen, right?
I mean, the whole season's shown that, right? Like, is the playoffs gonna be any different than regular season?
That's fair. And
if it's anything like the regular season, Darryl's winning it all.
Oh, absolutely. No, I know that, like, I tried to talk to Jerry and Jason Smith about joining this, and obviously schedules didn't perfectly align, but I really appreciate all you guys coming on the podcast and being so engaged in it. Alex agreed at 7-2-1, by the way. This has been a really good year as far as content for the league is concerned, and a really good year for engagement. Like, I'm really impressed with how everyone's taken it seriously to the extent they have, and for those of us who have bid $1 in Fab and things like that, like, I'm impressed with everybody's engagement, and it's been really fun and exciting, and I'm really looking forward to crowning a champion in a couple weeks. So we'll see where we end up next week. I can't lose this week, so I'm on cloud. You and I both, we can't lose this week.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, guys. All right. Well, good luck in your matchups. Special good luck to Brad and Alex because they watched live, and we'll see.
Brad's not winning though.
We'll see you next week for the Sacko Bowl finals and, of course, the playoff semis. I just thought about being in a semi. Gives me a semi. See you guys.
Yeah.